Two neighbors each borrow $50,000 this year. Same bank, same interest rate, same monthly payment. 5 years from now, one of them is still paying it off and has nothing to show for it. The other one used that same $50,000 to build something that now pays him every single month, and the loan is basically paying for itself. Same debt, same bank, completely different outcome. I'm going to show you the exact decision that separated them. And by the end of this, you'll be able to look at any loan, any purchase, any great deal, and know in about 10 seconds which side of that split you're standing on. There are 7 rules that decide this. Most people only ever learn 1 or 2 of them, usually the hard way. I'm giving you all 7 in order right now. Stick around because Rule 5 is the one that trips up almost everyone, even people who think they already understand money. Before we start, if you've listened to one of these before, you already know the drill. Comment your city below. I like seeing where this reaches. Now, Rule 1. A loan is not good or bad. A loan is a neutral tool. It's just money moved forward in time. What decides whether it helps you or hurts you is a single question, and almost nobody asks it before they sign anything. Does this loan pay for itself, or do I pay for it? That's it. That's the entire rule underneath everything else in this video. If you borrow to buy something that loses value the moment you drive it off the lot, sits in a closet, or exists purely to be seen, you're the one paying for it every month alone. If you borrow to buy something that produces rent, revenue, output, growth, the thing itself starts covering the payment. Same signature on the paperwork. Completely different relationship with that debt for the next 5, 10, 20 years. Quick gut check. Think of the last time you financed something. Was the answer, it pays for itself, or I pay for it? Hold that thought. You'll need it later. There are really only 2 mindsets people bring to a bank. The first walks in hoping to get approved. They're thinking about the monthly payment. Can I afford $400, $600, $900 a month? That's the entire analysis. It ends there. The second walks in already knowing the return. They're not asking, can I afford the payment? They're asking, what does this money need to produce to make borrowing it worth it? Same building, same loan officer, 2 completely different conversations happening in their heads. Here's the shift in 1 sentence. Stop asking what you can afford monthly. Start asking what the money needs to return annually. That single reframe is the line between financing a lifestyle and financing a future. Knowing the difference is step 1. But even good borrowers destroy themselves with one very specific mistake. It's the one that turns smart leverage into a collapse. Leverage is control without full ownership. $10,000 at controlling an asset worth 5 times that. It's how modest amounts of money can produce outsized results. But here's what almost nobody says clearly. Leverage doesn't just multiply your wins. It multiplies your mistakes at the exact same rate. If the asset performs, you look like a genius. If it doesn't, the same multiplier works in reverse, except now it's not your gain being multiplied, it's your exposure. This is why the wealthy don't ask, what's the upside first? They ask, what happens if the income stops for 3 months? What happens if the value drops 20%? Do I still survive? If the answer is no, the deal isn't ready, no matter how good the upside looks. Waiting isn't failure. Waiting with a reason is discipline. Tell me in the comments, have you ever seen someone over-leverage and it blew up on them? I want to hear the story. Here is the only formula in this entire video, and once you understand it, you'll never look at a loan offer the same way again. What the asset returns, minus what the debt costs you, equals your spread. Borrow at 6%, the asset earns 12%, you're keeping a 6% positive spread. That gap is pure leverage profit. You made money using money that wasn't originally yours. Flip it. Borrow at 7%, the asset earns nothing. You now have a guaranteed 7% loss every single year, quietly draining you. The wealthy don't fall in love with the purchase. They fall in love with the number. Not, is this beautiful, but does this perform? Not, will this impress someone, but does this produce cash? Before any loan, subtract the real costs, maintenance, taxes, fees, the unexpected repair from the income, then calculate the spread. Optimists calculate gross. Realists calculate net. Only realists survive long enough to compound. Positive spread is the goal. But even a great spread can bury you if you stack it wrong. And this next one is the rule that gets even experienced people. This is the rule most people never hear. And it's the one that quietly wrecks otherwise smart decisions. Never fund a long-term asset with short-term debt. If your loan comes due before your asset has had time to stabilize, grow, or produce, you get forced into a bad refinance at the worst possible moment, on someone else's schedule, not yours. Match the length of your debt to the life of what you're buying. A slow-growing asset needs patient debt. A short-term opportunity needs short-term financing. Mixing the two is how good investments turn into forced, panicked exits. And a related trap, variable rate debt on a fixed income asset. If your loan payment can move, but your income can't, you've built in a ticking risk you can't control. Fixed debt against fixed or growing income is stability. Variable debt against fixed income is exposure, dressed up to look like a good deal. If you've ever felt, why did this loan suddenly feel so much heavier? This is usually why. Timeline mismatch. Every leverage position needs a cushion, cash set aside, untouched for when things don't go as planned. Not if, when. Here's why this matters more than almost anything else on this list. The moment you have no margin, you stop making decisions and start reacting. A late tenant becomes a crisis instead of a Tuesday. A rate adjustment becomes a panic instead of a line item. Without reserves, one hiccup can force you into selling at the worst time, refinancing on bad terms, or making an emotional call you'll regret for years. With reserves, the exact same hiccup is just a hiccup. You absorb it, adjust, and keep moving. Same event, completely different outcome, because of a buffer most people skip because it feels like wasted money sitting idle. It's not wasted. It's the reason you get to stay rational when everyone else around you is panicking. How many months of expenses do you currently have set aside? Be honest in the comments. No judgment, just curious where people actually stand. This next one is the rule nobody expects, and it's the one that actually defines the finish line. Early on, leverage is fuel. You use it to acquire, to get in the door, to control more than your own cash alone could buy. That's stage one. As things stabilize, the question changes. It's no longer, how do I get more leverage? It's, is this specific debt still working for me? You start refinancing for better terms, extending or shortening based on what actually serves you now, not chasing growth blindly. Eventually, for the people who get this right, debt becomes optional, not because they eliminated it out of fear, but because they no longer need it to survive or expand. At that point, whether to use a loan becomes a calm, strategic choice instead of a necessity. That's the actual finish line. Not debt-free as a badge of honor, and not leveraged forever as an identity. Just the freedom to choose, because the structure underneath you is strong enough to make that choice from a position of calm instead of pressure. Let's run it back fast. Debt has no opinion. The asset either pays for itself or you do. Stop asking what you can afford monthly. Start asking what it needs to return annually. Leverage multiplies wins and mistakes equally. Stress test before you sign. The spread is the whole game, what it returns minus what it costs. Match your debt's timeline to your asset's timeline. Reserves aren't wasted money. They're what let you stay calm when it matters. And debt is a tool for a season, not a permanent identity. None of this is complicated. It's not a secret code, and nobody's hiding it from you. It's just 7 questions almost nobody asks before they sign, and now you will. If this actually helped you look at money differently, that's genuinely why we make these. Tell us in the comments which rule you're going to apply first. I read everyone. And if you want the next audiobook the moment it's up, you know what to do.